My name is Gary P. Smith, the P is for Paul, and this is
Tonia Smith.
And we've been married 29 years and 7 months. I'll let Tonia tell that story.
Actually, we met at a club. Gary worked there, and I went with a cousin to the club, and he worked the door. And it was a guy that come in to sell flowers. So the guy walked up to me and said, the guy at the door said, if the only way I can sell flowers, I had to give you a flower. And after that, we went to a house party, and the rest is history.
Well, I noticed her first, so as she stated. And when I saw her, the first thing I noticed about her was that she was just beautiful, honestly, to me. And I like I said, I looked at her and I was like, wow. And then she had braces. So that blew me away too. And I was like, man, I never talked to anyone with braces on before. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, and then the flower thing happened and the rest was history. But honestly, the beauty of her when I first saw her, it was just amazing, honestly.
Well, when I first saw him, I thought, oh, he's a cutie pie.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't know he noticed my braces. I didn't know that. This first time I've heard him say that. But when I saw him, I didn't think we would date. But I guess you'd say in the back of my mind, I was hoping, that he would. And I was brought up where you didn't make the first move, so I was waiting on him to make that move.
That's a song, isn't it? First date.
First date, he actually cooked for me at his apartment. And I guess it was a very tasty meal, but he fixed pork chops and instant rice, which I found out later it was instant rice.
It was on sale.
And canned corn. And
it was on sale also.
And a bottle of wine. But and it was like, yeah, all the starches, but no veggies, but it was a tasty meal.
I was never the one to believe in that cliche about love at first sight, but it actually happened to me. When I saw her, I was like, hey, that's the one for me. I hadn't planned on getting with anyone because of past relationships. I had never really thought about getting with anyone with any intentions of marrying that person too, maybe just to date later on. But I had no intentions, but it just happened. And I'm glad it happened. It's just some things that were going on, prior relationships in my life that I was like, hey, I'm putting relationships on hold. But until I saw her, and like I said, it was the beauty. When I saw her, I was amazed and just starstruck or whatever you want to say. Then those cliches do come back, and it was love at first sight. So.
Well, pretty much what Gary said, because I wasn't out. I had, I used to say previously relationships, and I had just got out of a relationship, so I wasn't looking to date. And it just happened. Everything just clicked. We would talk every night when he left the club, and we would talk 2 and 3 hours, and it would be 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We would talk, and we just hit it off real good. We had common things between the two of us, so everything just clicked.
Really, the church home. That's first and foremost. We were both raised in the church. So establishing a great church home, also working on our relationship with God. Honestly, the first thing and foremost, putting God first, family second. We worked on that constantly in our life. But when we initially were founding members of Crossover, we do understand what the church is all about. Building up on the Word of God and teaching the Word of God. Those are some things that we wholeheartedly, believe in as a family member. But then also we work behind the scenes. We work in the marriage ministry. We know what that's all about with Elder Royce Robinson and the people that work with us in the marriage ministry. Everyone is, they have outstanding relationships. Everyone believes in the Word of God. We all get along. Now we're starting to see a lot of the younger members starting to get married too, and they're coming to us asking for advice. So one of the main things I do appreciate about the church is the openness of the church and the individuals that work here. But the foremost thing and the thing that keeps me grounded is that we're teaching the Word of God, and you have to have that in your family. You do, and your marriage too.
Right, and I totally agree. And if we did not have God first, it's no way our marriage, I don't think any marriage could last if you don't put God first. And then, I guess you say, cross over the foundation. We are the, I guess say the founders, one of the first members, and just being grounded in the Word of God. Because you have two people coming together as one, entirely two different backgrounds, and there's give and take on each end, and a lot of praying and understanding, and that will make a marriage stay together or put together is having God first. Right. Yeah, you do want to pray, but you also don't want to run to just no individual, a friend, and you don't want everybody in your business, put it that way, as far as maybe your parents, because a lot of times you go to your parents and, that's my child, so quite natural parents are going to put up that barrier and take that side of your child. But if you have a spiritual person that you can go to, your preacher or maybe your counselor or something like that, that you can call and talk to someone that can give you sound spiritual guidance, I would say do that. Because if you go to your friends, they're going to talk, they're going to have judgment. Whereas and even the parents or a family member, whereas you've all made up and then they still mad at that spouse.
I would say that, just being part of crossover the marriage ministry, I would say, first of all and foremost, have accountability partners. And when I say accountability partners, I'm meeting someone also that is married, that may have gone through some issues in the past, or may not have been up against some of those challenges. That's some of the things that Tonia and I, we counsel too. And we ask the individuals that we do counsel to stay in touch with us, because we go through issues too. I mean, we get on the phone. I've talked to Pastor Blake, Brother Wash, about some issues too in marriage that have gone on in the past. And everyone's going to have a challenge. And that's my thing. Everyone is going to have challenge. Brother Wash says something too. The closer you get to God, the more challenges you're going to have too. And we see that as workers here at the church, doing different various ministries. We have to stay. One thing you have to do is stay prayed up. And that was one thing I would tell any couple that's coming along now. Stay prayed up. Stay in the Word. Have some type of accountability partner that you can call. And really, if you're a married couple, have a accountability married couple that you can get in touch with too. So that's one of the things I take out of it too when having issues.
Right, and just like Gary said, even though you asked newlywed, it's just not newlywed, because we've been married almost 30 years. Even if you were married 50 years, there's still always going to be issues, in a marriage. So you will have to have that accountability person or a spiritual, guidance person, but somebody you can go to and you can trust in, and going to have that sound foundation for you, word of advice. And you shouldn't, I don't know the verse, but you should not go to bed mad at one another. And sometimes we do. I'm not, marriage is not, no marriage is perfect. But But you want to keep that communication open. Be careful of what you say, because once that word is said, you can't retract it. And a lot of times when you're mad, you say things that's very hurtful, or you don't mean like later. So you have to think about what come out of your mouth before it's said. What else can I say? You want to add to it?
I think some of the biggest challenges, being married this long too, is that what people look at you and think.
Yeah,
a lot of people look at you and the perception is that everything is all right, everything is just going great because you guys have been married so long. To me, I look at it as it's no such thing as a perfect marriage. But when I look at Tonia, I do understand that it is a such thing as a perfect wife. And I look at Tonia as being the perfect wife in Proverbs 31. I didn't know that when we first got married. I was just looking, physically looking at beauty and some of those things there. But as we start getting into the Word, we start surrounding ourselves with people of the Word. We start understanding that, hey, they have problems, we have problems. How do you tackle those problems? Well, you tackle those problems through the Word. And as Tonia just stated too, you watch what you say. That's one of the biggest issues, because I was quick to tongue. So that's one of the biggest issues too. You have to really watch what you say. And I even tell friends that words linger, and they hurt. And the tongue is sharper than a two-edged sword. So we know that. So you can get a person by some of the things that you say. But as the years have gone by, we do that. Hey, I love you, or catch you off guard and say, hey, Tonia did something the other day when we were riding in the car, and she looked over and she said, "You're my rock." And I'm a crowded man cry on the inside, but I almost start crying then. I was like messed up. So it's those little things, and she caught me off guard and wasn't scripted. I love that, and she doesn't understand some of those things that you do. The little touch, the little, hey, what you're doing, the little phone call when you're going through a bad day. Those things help, because every day is a challenge. Honestly, I think every day in a marriage is challenging, but how do you address that challenge? That's one thing I would say. So be careful about how you address that challenge on a daily basis.
Right, and a lot of times it's the little bitty things that you do. It's not the great big things that you do. And then a lot of times you have to be careful of, I guess you say, like if you're upset with somebody, your body language. If I was upset with Gary right now, well, you would never know it. I don't show that because that's something between me and him that we should work out, and everybody else shouldn't see that. So sometimes people, when you're mad, everybody, the whole world, going to know that you're upset. So it's the way you carry yourself.
Exactly.
Well, go ahead.
I'm giving out my secrets. Honestly, she does something that she's always done it, for years. She will stay in the bathroom probably an hour.
Not that long.
An hour. But when she comes out, she comes out of the bathroom, the restroom, and whatnot, and she smells, and I go, wow. And then she takes care of herself. There's a lot of other things that she does, but I mean, when coming back to the keeping it sexy, it's like, wow. I mean, she's we got the word prissy. She is very that she takes her time, and she looks at that, and she takes her time, and she's really into her appearance. So we look at that too, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about her. That her background is a beautician, so I think that has a lot to do with it too. And then she would even correct me. She's like, "Hey, you need to do that." Or before I leave the house, I'll even wake her up and say, "Hey, how do I look?" So I think some of those things about keeping it sexy, just the way she carries herself on a daily basis. Now, I'm not saying it's 100, but it's sometimes that I'm like, wow, are the kids asleep? So.
What that is, I mean, I look at it like, it is, I mean, I don't want to be just, I want to use the right word and not just.
That's right, home of the sex and gospel. There you go.
But it is, and I feel like that you know, I have to keep it sexy for my man. You know, I mean, whatever it took to get him, it takes to keep him. So yeah, I'm going to look my best. I'm going to smell my best at all times. Not to say I walk around the house with makeup on all the time, but I want to keep it sexy in our marriage.
Thank you.